Welcome to Middles Open. It airs every week on QFM Sunday, 8:30. We hope you tune in. You can also see this on Facebook Live, or if you've missed a show, you can go to YouTube under Morris Media Productions, and everything is there. You get to see every time we've had somebody in studio, whether you want to or not. Before I introduce everybody, I want to let you know the topic is going to be overrated, underrated. And I got the boys with me today. We're going to break that down, and it should be a little bit of fun today. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, I'll let you know who's here. Stop that. Welcome back to Middles Open. I'm Michael Morris. This is the best show we're going to do today, boys. I'm going to let you know that. I want to introduce who's here. We got the stiffest right hand in radio, Doug Risher. Doug, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, guys. Welcome back.
Yeah, well, we have to come back. I mean, the show is every week. We don't have a choice. And then we've got the Pastor Blaster, Dave Beaver. How are you, Pastor?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
And we have a special guest today.
Yes.
A friend of mine for over 25 years, Dave Freetage. Dave, how are you?
I'm great, and that makes us sound old.
Well, we are old. But I want to talk about old business with you, Dave, because I don't know how I'm going to get a chance to clear this up. I want to set the stage. We're in Westerville, freshman year basketball. And the game's on the line. Dave and I are checked in, and the play is 5 down, which means the big fella, the franchise, me in the corner. I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to shoot a 3. Winking at Wendy and Amber on the sidelines, letting them know, guess what's coming. And my point guard, Dave Freetag, decides to just dribble right down the middle of the floor and lay it up and score for himself, right? Leaving me out in the cold. I'm wide open. So then the coach says, run it again. He does the exact same thing. I want to let you know that you hurt my draft stock that day. And I've had to be in radio ever since then because of your selfish motives that you won't pass the ball.
That was the only 4 points I scored all year.
Right. But I just want to point out that you kind of owe me an apology for 25, almost 27 years ago.
That's true. I do apologize.
How do you feel about that? I mean, we're not going to do this whole show this way, but now that I have you in person,
Right.
You never apologize to me or my family.
Yes. It's terrible you're carrying this anxiety with you for 25 years.
Well, we did lose by 21, so that 4 points really didn't matter. You could let me get a shot off. Boys, today's topic we're going to talk about is over-under in terms of overrated or underrated. And the reason why is Dr. Buzz, who we're all friends with, talking to him about UFC 229. And as we've been talking about the three of us for weeks, and he says, it doesn't matter. It's all hype. It's not that big a deal. Connor's not that big a deal. He's overrated. Now, I've got 3 MMA guys in here. So I want to start with Doug. That term that Connor's overrated, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, personally, I don't think Connor's overrated. The people that he has fought over the years are the highest caliber there is. And to say this card's underrated just blows my mind that Buzz would say that, because I think it's been a little under the radar a little bit just because they haven't been doing as much press for it. But this is going to be one of the biggest pay-per-views like ever for the UFC. So I personally have been looking forward to it immensely.
Absolutely. I mean, look, you got a guy who's never lost a fight. I mean, Khabib is an undefeated fighter. And correct, is it had the media circus train like a Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight? No. Has it even had the hype of a Conor McGregor-Diaz fight? Nope. So I can understand why it seems like it's being under kind of, produced or represented. But I'm saying right now, you have Conor McGregor's not overrated. Look, I mean, just ask Jose Aldo, who didn't lose a fight for 10 years. And I think he went to sleep in about 7 seconds, 13 seconds, something like that.
Super short.
So super short, and he hasn't made it back to his prestige yet. So Conor McGregor has show-stopping power. He's not overrated. He's got great tools, but he is fighting a guy that's undefeated, never lost. I think he's 26-0, and he wrestled a bear once when he was 6. I don't know.
You brought that up off the air, and I'm just sitting there like, what does that have to do with it? Like right before we're going on there, who cares about he wrestled a bear? Did the bear tap out?
That's just been part of the media train. You
Dave,
show a picture of a guy wrestling a
the
bear.
question. Did the bear tap out? Did it go the distance?
No, I think he beat the bear. Matter of fact, that stupid hat he wears, I think came from that bear's
He
hide.
ate the bear.
Ate
afterwards.
the bear.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to call that a draw.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll call it a draw. We'll call it a draw.
Dave, your opinion on this fight. So you've got 2 fighters that are there. I mean, they are tops in their sport, but why would somebody say that this is an overrated fight? I think it's an overrated card.
Sure.
Okay, so I said this before. When you have 2 flyweight women or strawweight women fighting to open the card. I think there's something wrong with that. Only from the aspect of it doesn't feel like a big fight. It's kind of CM Punk when he was on the card. He didn't deserve to be there either.
No.
He is the greatest WWE champion. I think we can all agree on that. Dave, take a side.
Macho Man.
That's Intercontinental Champion. I don't even know why you have him on the show. But Dave, I should say free tag because we got 2 Daves.
Right.
When you are looking at this fight, are you looking at it as it's kind of like Conor and he's given the shine to Habib, or should they stand on their own merits?
I think that people get Connored out. His attitude, the way he is, I think can rub certain people the wrong way. If he had the attitude of George St. Pierre, I think everybody would love him. But it's part of his shtick also. He sells tickets. He puts butts in seats, which is what the UFC wants. That's what Dana wants. Dana White wants that. So I think the overrated comments, I've seen that a lot about him. He's overrated, but man, he just keeps winning. So obviously there's something to his game.
You know, I agree with his trash talking. It also it's a strategic approach for him. He gets in your head, makes you forget your game plan, breaks you down, and then when you get in there, you're so mad at him, you forget all the training you've been doing for 3 months. So it's a strategy he uses. And the only person I think it hasn't ever worked against was Nate Diaz, because Nate keeps up with him, and so which was amazing. But Conor wasn't doing a lot of trash talking up until like the last 2 weeks, and now he's kind of going back to his normal ways. And we'll see if Khabib falls for it. So I think he's just trying to kind of tune him out. But Conor brings that trash, man, and it can really sink in and totally throw your game plan off.
I mean, if you throw a dolly through a bus window at a guy, that gets in anyone's head, right? You're like, if I lose the fight, you're going to hit me with a dolly. I don't know. So
Conor also submitted, you were talking about a bear, then Conor submitted a bus, so it's even.
it's even, yeah.
Okay, I see where your logic applies in your MMA thoughts.
Does it make sense? That's probably why I got choked unconscious. But let's go for it.
So before we went on the air, I was asking Dave free tag about Conor, like how many more fights you think he's got left, whether it's 2 or 4, because it becomes Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. How many times can I watch this again? Does that take the overall shine, do you think, off of their reputation? I mean, when that was a blood battle, right? And then we got to see it. We got to see it again, and now they're fighting at 78 years old. And is there a point where it's tarnishing what they've done?
I mean, we've all seen. Was it Rocky 4, where he has the robot? Or was that Rocky 3? I forget.
Rocky 3.
Rocky 3 had the robot where he was rich, right?
Or was that Rocky 4?
Rocky 3 is when he has the money and he has to bail Paulie out of jail. He's
Yeah,
pawned his watch.
Yeah,
Remember he pawns the watch?
Right.
That's
We've
right.
all seen that movie. The rich guy's fighting. You get soft.
That's where you went with that?
That's where I went with
You
that.
brought up a robot, and I did not know
He
that.
had the robot out the swimming pool. That's all I remember
That's
about it.
right.
You remember that?
I remember Apollo Creed, and he needed Rocky in his corner, and he was there. Where have you been, Dave? All this time, and I've been suffering. Why aren't you in my corner?
Rocky 5 didn't exist, in my opinion.
I think it was called Rocky Balboa.
No, the one with Tommy Gunn didn't happen.
That was. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, see, it didn't exist. You forgot about it too. It was that bad.
Yeah,
That's the only Rocky that's bad.
I'm glad that this show went off the rails.
Okay, what are we talking about?
So
Creed 2, by the way, is coming out.
That's gonna be baller.
I'm looking forward to that.
What I want to know is, in your opinion, when these guys get to a stage where they're fighting for money and not for their place in that sport, at what point do you look at it and say, like a Roy Jones Jr., that guy was fighting in Russia just to get a fight, just to get a payday.
Yeah, it's horrible.
You're ruining who you were. So if you're fighting these tomato cans, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, your
Right.
legacy.
That's what I look at. If it's me, I don't want to see Tom Brady playing for Jacksonville. Like, leave when you're on top.
Right.
Right? And that's where I think we're falling into this overrated, underrated. But again, when you're just having casual conversations in the hallway and somebody says, he's overrated, I know it's all opinion, but there is a point where some of this stuff kind of gets intertwined and you go, maybe that guy is a little bit overrated. Like, it's my favorite person in the world to ever talk about, Brock Lesnar. Is he overrated because he's a monster and he should be dominating guys, but he really can't use his left hand? Or is he legit the baddest dude on the planet?
Wait, we talking MMA or WWE?
There's a big difference.
Doug, we are always talking about WWE in some sort. I just mean in MMA. Because if that guy fight, that's a freak show. That's like when Tyson would fight. If Tyson fought the librarian, you're going to pay big money to watch it because you want to see the freak show, right? Brock is the biggest freak show walking.
Okay, well, when it comes to MMA, I think he's totally overrated. Like his he's just a massive man, and he can hold you down. But look at what Cain Velasquez did against him, a guy that really is a true MMA guy. He's just a massive man. I mean, he could hold me down. I wouldn't be able to get up at all. He'd be able to do the same thing with you. But in wrestling, in WWE, he's perfect for that role. But when it comes to true MMA, I don't think he has a place in there. People are going to pay for it because they want to see this monster of a man try to pummel.
He has to get you,
version.
yeah, and he has to get you early. If a fresh Brock Lesnar gets you early, and he can use all that power and brute force, and he can even bring Suplex City, unscripted version to the cage. Great, dude, he can do some damage. But here's the thing:
I don't know what you mean.
if you have to go the distance, we know this big muscle gasses faster, right? And people that
I
are
do know.
true, I know you are a beast mode. But I think these athletes, I would say in the realm of MMA, he's overrated. I think his record even shows that he's overrated. He's a ticket sale and a ticket draw, and let's face it, people pay to be entertained. But when you look at being a true mixed martial artist, I don't view him as a true mixed martial artist.
Yeah, he doesn't like to get punched in the face. You can see him; he flinches when he gets hit. That's a big deal in MMA. You have to get hit, and
You're going to flinch
not
when
mind
you
it.
get hit.
That's why I'm out of your arm's reach. So you can't reach me.
Well, the reason I brought up
Armbar him, Dave. Armbar him.
I brought up Brock for a reason and Tyson because Teddy Atlas was on the Joe Rogan show or podcast, and he was telling this amazing story about Mike Tyson, where he said Mike Tyson is 0-5 in his life, wipe out his record. And Joe Rogan said, "What do you mean?" He said, "The guys that he beat when he won those 40 fights, those were all arranged. They kind of like put him in spaces where he could dominate and he could win because they were making a lot of money off him. But when it really came down to it, was he a better fighter than Evander Holyfield, than Riddick Bowe, those kind of guys?"
It equates back to my Rocky 3 comment.
The robot, I know.
See? No, they hit him from cover
Oh.
right. He said, "Oh, you gave me cans the whole time, Mick. I fought cans the whole time. Your whole life should go back to Rocky."
And I think it does to some extent, but I'm trying to figure out how you're saying that Clubber Lang was the tougher fighter.
He was a tougher fighter until he got trained. Until Rocky got trained by Apollo, absolutely.
Well, if you were on a run on a beach shirtless with a guy, you better win a fight.
I'm picking those two with the short shorts.
Do you guys train? Here's the thing I love on your Facebook when you say no gi.
Yeah.
Now, Joe Reiner and I love when you post that because we have
Yes.
no idea what a gi is.
Right.
But when you post no gi, we're thinking there's a lot of baby oil and there's a lot of men that are showing up early. What's no gi mean?
See, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you wear a gi, and it basically can give somebody handles to grab a hold. It's like wearing a coat almost, because you don't really
Why
fight
don't you
somebody
just
without
say
clothes.
coat? No coat.
Because it's just called a gi. I don't know.
Gi.
But when you go with no gi, it's just you're wearing like Under Armour shirt. I don't wear just nothing though. That would be strange.
Well, that's what it seems like.
Yeah,
you
it's
say
called no gi, not no clothes.
Yeah,
man.
it's not called no clothes.
Doug, are you familiar with the no gi policy?
I am. Gi is like a typical martial arts
Yes.
uniform, like what I used to wear in Taekwondo. And like you said, it's just able to grab onto it.
Disgusting.
So
So
no gi, you can dress like a legitimate superhero. I'm just
This
saying.
is what happens.
You can.
Well, how
It's
do I
phenomenal.
keep getting 3 MMA people every single week? We had Roy Hall the first week, and I know it could have taken him. And if he's listening, he knows it too.
He does.
I want to throw out some more names though. Tom Brady I mentioned, and I want to go one by one. Pastor Blaster, Tom Brady, overrated, underrated?
Underrated. I think he's even though he's from that school up north, I think he's
Michigan
phenomenal. I think he's yeah. I mean, he's from the even though he went to meat chicken, I still think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it.
So you don't think it has anything to do with the system or that he plays in or anything? You think it's legit him?
I think I think the system helps, but he's going out there and he's got the tools and he has proven those over time. No matter who the receivers are around him, the backs are, the line's up or down, the guy's consistent. I mean, look at it. He had a major leg injury, sat a year out. Most people don't come back at the same. He came back, I think, better.
I think he's underrated. I think he's awesome. Probably the best quarterback in NFL history.
Doug?
Well, I mean, you're gonna know my response.
I know. I
I'm a
already know
Patriots
this
fan,
answer.
but I think he's underrated. Obviously, like on Thursday, he got his 500th touchdown pass. Peyton Manning's number 1 with 538, and then Brett Favre at number 2. He has potential to surpass both of those guys. So, yeah, do I think he's underrated? Definitely.
Before we go to break, though, right behind him is Drew Brees. Now, I want to know, I personally think that's an overrated quarterback. Right? He's playing in New Orleans. They didn't run the ball for the longest time. there's part of me that says, yeah, if you're going to throw it 30 or 40 times, which everybody does, 400-yard games don't mean anything to me anymore. What it means is how many playoff games did you win? How many Super Bowls? And he's got one, and Brady has 7 hands full of rings.
Yeah.
Wears him on his toes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yep.
When I look at it, do you put up numbers, or are you just like a stat collector, or are you legitimately winning games? Like Ernie Banks is a fantastic player. He's a Hall of Fame guy and played on last place clubs over and over again. You can be a great player and be stuck on a bad team. But now I feel like everybody's just collecting stats, and it's harder to tell who's great and who's not. The difference in great and good has been decreased over time. And that's what drives me nuts is someone says, I heard somebody say Alvin Kamara when he gets in the Hall of Fame. I think if I asked 10 people in this building who that was, they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But if I say Tom Brady, everybody knows.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. He's great.
Before we get into more names, we're going to have to take a break. But you're listening to Middles Open on QFM 96.
Just go right back in.
Yep. Welcome back to Middles Open on QFM 96. We are here every Sunday at 8:30 following Dave Beaver's fantastic show, The Hot Seat. Dave, how do you feel so far? Like, we're following you, so we're really kind of the main event, and you're like the warm-up fight. Do you feel
I'm
good
kind of
about
like
that?
the undercard. I feel good about that.
Do you
I feel
get
good.
tired going from one show to the next? Because, like, you had Freetage on your show,
Yeah.
and that had to, like, drag. That had to be, like, running through sand. But now you've made it to this show and brought him with you. How do you feel about that?
That feels great. I felt like, it's kind of like getting a bonus,
Yeah.
I finally get to fight on the main card.
That's how Doug feels when he has to do this with me. He's dragging me to the finish line. He feels really good about committing to this. Getting back to our topic, we're talking about over-under in terms of overrated, underrated. So we covered Brock Lesnar. We all were in agreement that's the greatest UFC champion ever, right? You don't have to answer. I'll answer for you.
Negative.
And we talked about Tom Brady. Here's a name that I think is very odd. Rick Nash. If you ask Columbus people when he was here and they were the dregs of the league, Rick Nash was the greatest player in NHL history. And then once he gets traded to the Rangers, I never hear his name anymore. It's almost like people will blame him for the reason the franchise didn't move farther, right? So I want to go and Doug's probably more of our hockey guy than anybody else in here. Your opinion on Rick Nash when he was here with the Jackets?
Who?
Yeah, there you go.
No, I mean, he was the big name here, obviously, in Columbus, but you go to New York, I mean, that's a different beast, I think. I think he was overrated here in Columbus. Maybe he's underrated in New York now, but he obviously didn't do what people were hoping here in Columbus, and, once that happens, then they just jump ship, so...
I hope he still lives in Columbus and he heard what you just said about him. Dave Beaver, what do you think?
Let me tell you what I think about hockey. Hockey's like football meets MMA meets the Ice Capades meets golf meets soccer.
That's a lot of meating, Dave.
That's it. And that's what hockey is. You take all those sports, you blend them together. You can fist fight in hockey. That's cool. I know nothing about hockey other than they play it on ice, and it reminds me of the Ice Capades or figure skating. Hockey, golf, football, and fist fights all rolled into one.
I'm going to let you know this right now while we're
Right
recording.
now.
We're not going to talk about the Browns every single week, so you better do some studying, okay?
Hey, Joe Thomas, greatest left tackle, played on a bad team. I'm just saying, putting that out there. Go.
I'm moving on. Freetag, your opinion on Rick Nash, because while we all kind of grew up in that era where we had the Columbus chill.
Right.
Nobody was overrated on that team. They were all the same. Then we get the Blue Jackets, and they are all the same as well. They are terrible. Then we get Rick Nash, who's supposed to turn things around, right?
Right.
And everything's built on that. Every commercial you see, every banner is this one guy. So he's going to take on every other team by himself.
Yep.
Did he succeed while he was
He
here?
definitely did not live up to expectations in Columbus. He was vastly overrated here. But they needed something for marketing, so I think it worked for a while.
I totally get that. And he made all the money on the team, and everybody else is terrible.
Absolutely.
I remember going to those games, and they would say that paid attendance was 10,000. There might be like 2,000 people in the building.
You could walk down and catch one of the T-shirts.
I almost got to suit up. I just can't skate.
But, let's look at it like this. We could say he's overrated when he was here in Columbus, but could Brady do it all by himself, too?
I don't know, Patriots guy.
Well, yes, he could. But him and Bill could win it all. But seriously, they put all this pressure on Rick Nash. But he needed his teammates to also pull through as well. Without that, without Brady's teammates, he's not winning Super Bowls. He's not winning games. He's not getting 500 touchdowns. So I think it's, in that sense, it's a little kind of unfair to say he's overrated, but he was one guy.
Here's one that Dave, Freetag, and I will both agree on. And this is in an article on Bleacher Report. They did every franchise's, Major League Baseball franchise's most overrated player. And the Baltimore Orioles, the mighty Baltimore Orioles, World Series champions 1983, thank you. They listed Cal Ripken as the most overrated player in franchise history. What the... Go ahead, Dave.
That hurts deep. That cuts.
How can a guy that didn't miss a game for 13 years be overrated?
Didn't Albert Bell play for us for a year?
He was there.
He should be our overrated player.
He had an apartment there, I think.
So we got to go somewhere else.
Remember when he threw like snowballs or something at kids that were trick or treating?
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He wasn't going to give out the full size candy bars.
No.
Just because he's wealthy.
I'd like to call him Joey to his face. Now he'd probably mangle me, but that's Joey Bell to you. He's Albert in Baltimore. But seriously, how can you have a guy who plays every day for 13 years,
right, and
he's overrated?
Yeah, that hurts. They say he's a stat collector to some point, is what a lot say. But he did play. He did well. He performed at an all-star level.
He played 19 seasons and 13 straight years.
Yeah.
He played, and he didn't do. I had to tell somebody this the other day when they said, "Well, Lou Gehrig, he played just as many." And I go, "No. Lou Gehrig would bat leadoff on when they would go to away games, and then come out after the first inning, so it counted. He got his at bat. That counted as he played in the game. Ripken would play every inning.
Yeah, true Iron Man.
Yeah.
My Cal Ripken story. I went to watch a spring training game once in Fort Lauderdale. I was like, oh, go watch Cal Ripken. Why not? Fly down, get there, sitting right behind the dugout. Cal comes out, takes a couple practice swings, grabs his neck, walks back in the clubhouse. Didn't play. That's what I get for going to spring training. I was like, he's going to play as the Iron Man. Well, he doesn't play in spring training. So
well, it's not every game. It's not inter-squad. It doesn't count every single time he touches the field.
I was like, hey, I can get some cheap tickets. I can go to Florida and watch. It didn't work out.
Calling him a coward.
Yeah.
Not even to his face.
Will Clark was playing that year, though, and he was very fat. He played that year, too.
Have you seen him lately?
I have not.
He is still.
He is still
fat. I will tell you this Cal Ripken story. My sister worked for the head office of minor league baseball, so I used to get to go to the winter meetings. And you're seeing Dave Winfield and Ozzie Guillen and all these guys, and it's cool. And I get invited to this, I forget which bank it was putting it on, and Cal Ripken's going to be there. And the coolest thing is, there he is with a Steve Weiser in hand, telling stories, whatever, and everybody got to get something signed by him. And I just walked up, and this was before the Nationals had this opening, Washington Nationals. And I shake his hand, and I don't know why I said this. I go, please don't go to the Nationals. He's still shaking my hand. And have you ever heard that story where he looks you in the eye? He won't stop looking me right in my eyeballs, and he goes, you know what, Mr. Angelos, who's the owner of the team, I've tried to talk to him and be a part of this organization. This goes on for 5 minutes. He's still got my hand in his hand, and there's a line of angry people behind me. and I said, Cal, as much as I'd like to keep this going, all these people are getting mad. I've got to move. And he's like, all right, well, don't go anywhere. I'm like, this is strange. You shouldn't be talking to me. But yeah, Cal Ripken, Mr. Everyday. Dave, you say overrated, underrated?
No, I say he's underrated. I think he's phenomenal. I remember growing up as a kid, watching him play, and I remember the big celebration of being the Iron Man, and it's phenomenal.
I'm sure when I turn this over to Doug, Doug's going to have a different opinion because he's probably going to be some Red Sox apologist. They've only been good for a decade, and he's going to be like, oh, he's not that good.
All right, well, here's my Cal Ripken story. Oh, that's right, I don't have one. But, so you say he played 13 years straight, right? Never missed a game. But it's baseball, guys. Come on, it's baseball. 13 years MMA straight, you don't see that. Never missing a fight. Football players, never missing a game. It just doesn't happen. It's baseball. Not saying the guy wasn't great, but come on, it's baseball.
I believe Morris misses softball games for Fort Hammy, though.
Yeah. That's not true. I miss them for girls' softball games.
Oh, okay. That's good.
And volleyball. So, and I got to say, the Lady Wolves are on a 2-game win streak, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
Last name on the list that I want to get out in the remaining time because this is always something that drives me nuts. Emmitt Smith. I say overrated because if I ran behind those guys on those great Dallas teams, I also could have got at least 1,000 yards rushing in 20 years.
You could?
In 20 years? I could fall forward at least 20 times. Seriously, do you guys think that's the greatest running back of all time?
As a Redskins fan, I really hate the Cowboys. I despise the Cowboys, but he is probably the best Cowboy ever.
I'm gonna say overrated. I wouldn't say the best cowboy ever. There's a lot of great cowboys that have played, and I would agree. It's who you're running behind. I mean, let's just face it. The greatest running back who's cut his career short would have been Barry Sanders. That dude was a machine. They decided to quit, and I don't know, work at the UDF, maybe scooping ice cream or something. But I'd say overrated. I wouldn't call him the greatest cowboy ever. That's just my opinion. But Dave could beat me up, so.
I hate all other Cowboys, so.
Me too.
Now, as obviously a Patriots fan, I still liked the Cowboys during their dynasty years. Emmitt Smith, he's just so likable. He's just so likable of a guy, though. It's hard to say. He was, I think, a really great running back. Obviously, the guys he's protecting him obviously carried him a lot, but I'd say he's not overrated. I don't think he's overrated.
Well, you're all wrong about that. The greatest running back in NFL history is Walter Payton. So I think we can all agree on that. No, Dave, don't do that face.
Sweetness.
Yeah. So that's going to be it for overrated, underrated. But so far, all we did was bag on Rick Nash. And that's totally Bush. I can't believe that. I hope that he's home because he's not. I don't think he went to training camp with the Bruins. I'm sure he's going to be listening to this and he's going to come after you three MMA guys. So, Rick, if you're listening, thanks for listening to QFM. And you can hear this show every Sunday at 8:30, right, Doug?
That is correct.
We're good. Boys, thanks for being on today. And, Dave, thanks for apologizing 27 years later for not passing the ball. You're a ball hog. And we're going to straighten this out after the show's over.
Absolutely.
All right. That'll be it. We'll see you next week. As I was driving here, I don't know why.